What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cars, Cost, and Technology. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the official pricing information for the 2020 C8 mid-engine Corvette. It feels like we've been waiting on this information for so long. It's funny that the reveal event was only a couple weeks ago, but now we finally have it, and we can go over some of the details that we've been missing and know exactly what the pricing will be on this car. I want to go ahead and get started and dive in with the starting MSRP, and that will be $58,900. And then you have to add in the destination fee, which would be $1,095, bringing us to a total of $59,995. Now, obviously, that's just a few dollars shy of the number that was mentioned at the reveal event, which was under $60,000. But why I'm really impressed by that is they could have technically made the starting MSRP, say $59,999, and then added an additional $1,000 plus for the destination fee. So I'm really happy to see that they actually lived up to what that was mentioned at the reveal event and kept the starting MSRP, or the full starting price, under $60,000. Really impressive and competitive pricing there. And also, when you consider this in comparison to the C7 generation, on paper it sounds like it's a couple $1,000 increase, but when you look at an apples to apples comparison, the fact that the C8 comes standard with the 8-speed automatic transmission, if you were to equip the C7 Corvette with that and then also add in the destination fee on that model, you're actually looking at just a $1,000 difference between the starting MSRP of a C7 equipped similar to a starting MSRP on the C8. So not a drastic difference there, and all the different performance enhancements and new technology and everything that they've done to the C8, for it only to be a $1,000 increase off the bottom line when you're looking at, again, comparable equipment. I'm blown away by that. I think that that's incredible. So really impressive here. I'm excited to see that they did keep it actually under $60,000. Now, obviously, you're going to want some options, and there's going to be some additional features added in there, but we've got a great starting structure there to go by. But let's go ahead and look at some of the trim levels available and the other options that you may want on this car. So looking at trim levels, we'll start out with the 1LT, which is going to be the standard starting MSRP of $59,995, just like we talked about previously. I will put a list of the 1LT features up on the screen. This is a very well-equipped car to begin with, so it's not like you're going to be missing out on a ton of features if you go with the entry level or the base model. I did personally choose to go with 2LT myself, just because my previous C7 Stingray was a 1LT, and there was just a few options that I really always wanted in that car. But it is, again, a very well-equipped car to begin with, especially at that price point. Now, moving on to the 2LT trim level, there are a few things that you need to take into consideration here when we look at this price point, because it is quite a jump up from the 1LT, and it's also, on paper, quite a bit higher than the 2LT trim level of the C7 generation. So you're looking at $67,295. But a few things that we need to take into consideration is, once again, it is coming standard with that 8-speed automatic transmission or dual clutch transmission, which you'd think would have quite a hefty premium involved, but it doesn't here. You're also getting the performance data recorder and navigation standard in the 2LT for the C8, where that was about an $1,800 option for the C7 Corvette. So when you're looking at a comparison there, you are getting about $1,000 to $2,000 increase over the 2LT trim level of a C7 Corvette, which to me is a phenomenal value, because there's also some features in the 2LT trim level that weren't available on the C7 in general. So things like the heated steering wheel, wireless charging, power folding mirrors. So there's quite a few features here that they've added in addition to the standard 2LT trim level that us Corvette enthusiasts have come to know in the C7 generation, that they've added on now, that makes it, again, a really good value. And when you're comparing the full comparison, only about $1,000 to $2,000 increase. Now, moving on to the 3LT trim level, you've got starting price point of $71,945. I do want to point out that jumping from the 2LT to 3LT, there aren't necessarily any functional differences, so keep in mind there's no different performance features or options or technology, anything like that. It's primarily going to be a transition in materials and the quality of the interior. So you're going to get a lot more items wrapped in leather, suede, an upgraded type of leather. So this is a good value, but keep in mind that there's no drastic changes there in performance or actual functionality of the car. It's more so in terms of luxury and the materials used in the interior. But let's move on to the performance options and features here. We've got the Z51 performance package, which I think is the most interesting package, or the thing that has captivated everyone so much, especially with the claims of 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. This package is going to come in at $5,000. So that's amazing to me that they kept it at $5,000. I was actually fully expecting this package to potentially creep up to $7,000, $8,000, maybe even $9,000. I referenced in a previous video that it could have been as much as double the previous generation Z51 package, and it still would have been a good value. Reason being, you're not going to find a car that gets 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds for this price point in pretty much any other manufacturer, any other spec, any other. I mean, it's just crazy when you think about that. For if you take the starting MSRP, add the $5,000 Z51 package, you're looking at under $65,000 for 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. I mean, that's crazy. If you did for some reason want to opt not to get the Z51 package, I would at least go with the performance exhaust. That's just shy of $1,200. And that feature is going to give you a much better sounding car. It's also going to give you the ability to control the sound of the exhaust with multiple different sound modes. And it's going to get you the horsepower figure to match the Z51 car. So you're going to get the 495 horsepower versus 490 horsepower. So I would at least go with that option if you were going to opt not to get the Z51, but I do think Z51 is a much better value as a whole, considering it also comes with the performance suspension, comes with upgraded brakes, additional cooling, the electronic limited slip differential, as well as the spoiler and front splitter, in addition to having that performance exhaust bundled in there. So really good value, and again, I think that was one of the biggest areas of concern or confusion is what Z51 was going to cost. For people who are familiar with the Corvette lineup in the past, they knew it was not going to be an outrageous package, but I've been hearing a ton of people who are kind of anti-Corvette or getting jealous of all the hype the Corvette has gotten recently, saying that Z51 is significantly more expensive and it's not going to be anywhere near $60,000. So really excited to see this information, and so glad that I did choose Z51 for my car. Now, moving on to the front end lift, we've got that coming in at $1,495. That's a great price point as well. I was totally expecting that this feature could be upwards of $2,000 to $3,000, just shy of $1,500. That's a great price point to have the peace of mind of protecting your front end, especially if you're going to opt for the carbon flash ground effects or the exposed carbon fiber ground effects for your front splitter, and just having that peace of mind in general of not having to feel the front end scrape, whether it was the undercarriage or front splitter, front bumper, you name it. It's just an anxiety causing feeling to have your front end scrape. So I think that's totally worth it at that price point. I'm so glad that I did choose that option for my car. Unfortunately, we don't have all of the pricing for everything else, say like magnetic ride control. Also didn't see any information on, say, the different paint colors that are available, what upcharges will be associated with some of those. Didn't see anything on the different interior color contrasts, interior stitching, seat belts, calipers. So there is still some pricing information that I don't quite have at the time of this recording. I will definitely update you as soon as that information is available. But we can pretty much assume that those are going to be options more in the hundreds. So not to say that it's not a cost you want to keep in mind or take into consideration, but you're not going to be talking thousands of dollars when you want to get your brake calipers a different color, or you're not talking thousands for a different color seatbelt. So it's safe to say that you could get a general idea of what your car will cost by taking these options and packages and starting points and kind of calculating up what your car should cost. Then you can kind of have some fun with all the different color combinations and customization there. And again, you should fall in the hundreds with those packages. So no need to worry too much about adding on red brake calipers and a red seatbelt, and it's going to be $3,000 or $4,000 more than your build as it stands with the Z51 package at a 2LT trim level. So we got a lot to go on here. We also actually get the information in this release that the top speed of the car will be 194 miles an hour. So that's pretty cool too. Excited to hear that. Obviously, a lot of people had mentioned that the gearing could have been favoring the acceleration, which is how I was able to achieve such a quick 0 to 60 time, but they may have had to compromise significantly on the top speed. But safe to say at 194 mile an hour top speed, they did not compromise on the gearing, and that's a really fast top speed. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that or even time will be hitting that. I know I certainly won't be, but really cool to hear that that is the capability of the car. Trying to think of any other information here. I think we pretty much covered it. We've got the starting MSRP, all three trim levels, the packages pricing that's available now. But once again, look out for an additional video with all the options pricing. I know there are so many different customization and color options available on this car. Definitely want to get that pricing information as well so we know exactly what the car will cost. I will put together a final video on my particular spec and what exactly it'll cost once all the final details are available, so look out for that video. I've had tons of people ask me for that, and unfortunately I did have to spec my car out and put my order in to my dealership without knowing the final price point, but that was just kind of a risk I was willing to take because I knew the car was going to be a good value ultimately. But I haven't avoided the question. I just haven't had the information to share, unfortunately. So look out for a video on that. But let me know what your thoughts are down below, guys. I'm really excited that we finally have this pricing information. I think that they knocked it out of the park. This is incredible value here, just like we should have known the car would be. But it's good to actually see it confirmed and have that peace of mind knowing that the car is going to be still extremely competitively priced. Even though it's in the mid-engine layout, it's not going to outprice all your average Corvette enthusiasts, and actually is bringing in a ton of new people to the Corvette lineup that are so interested in this car that never have shown interest in previous generations. So overall, just really exciting times, guys. But again, look out for another update with additional pricing information on options, as well as my particular build and total on that. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope that you found this video helpful, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.